So your career has been characterised by building financial services business, Colonial First State, Challenger, and you spent a fair chunk of time at UniSuper as well. Reflecting on all of that, what are some of the business lessons that you kind of take out of that?
That's a very interesting question. Well, certainly not to think of the world as static. If you ever want to wonder about change, you work in financial services, the amount of change over the years is unbelievable. So just when you think you're in a groove for whatever you're offering as a product or service or thing, the world does change regularly. I would say too, never forget it's a people business. It's absolutely a people business. And, it sounds trite, but I've only seen those groups succeed that really focus on adding value as opposed to enriching themselves. It is an industry that pays too much, or always thought that, and so people can get more focus on their wallet than somebody else's well-being. So if you can conquer those things, you probably do okay. But it's just a changing industry.
Well, on that change, where has the biggest changes occurred? What really stands out to you over that time?
Well, there's a few, but the big ones that come to mind is the rise of industry funds. I mean, we sort of hadn't heard of those 20 years ago type of thing. Or a bit longer, but really they're mutuals in a modern sense. It makes me, I was talking to someone today and we were scratching our head of how AMP, National Mutual, Colonial Mutual, how they gave it all away when people rated their reserves, but they should have been the having the mantle of what the industry funds are today. So the industry funds are massive. That has together with the superannuation system, this huge pool of money has completely changed the investing landscape, and also well-worn, but the advisory industry is very different too. It's good advice these days as opposed to product flogging, so that's a key thing. But with I think back on the industry funds, I think profit first, not-for-profit, that's changed the retail industry as we know. It's a lot harder now than when I started at Colonial First State, that's for sure. You're up against people who are doing it not for profit, which means straight away, and particularly as investment returns come down, means you've got to work a lot harder. It's just not a given anymore.
Can you just dig down on the financial advice side as well? How have you seen that landscape change over time?
Yeah, well, the obvious thing, we've seen lots more regulation, which was needed. It was an industry, as you know, you could come into with virtually no qualifications 30, 40 years ago. You just called yourself an advisor and away you went. And a lot of the advice industry, I think, came probably from the insurance industry, which was, single product, single job, which was to sell something. In my experience now, obviously a lot of advisors have left the industry. Weeded out partly by regulation, but also I think the qualification side is much better now. So people are doing, real tertiary qualifications in advice, and it's truly about advice now, I think, rather than product flogging. I speak to many advisors. I've got a great deal of respect for the advisory industry now. The depth of knowledge they have across a wide range of things is fantastic. So look, it's really good. The problem we still haven't conquered though in the advice industry, there's a lot of people who need advice who can't afford advice, and their advice they need is really basic probably. Certainly I watch this space closely. I'm invested in a robo area that's trying to make this online, so you can sort of figure out 90% of what you need online, but we haven't really conquered that yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would have seen some great advice businesses rise and some others fall over your journey. What stands out to you as what makes a great advice business?
A great advice business, that's a good question. I think firstly that you're not trying to do things too much en masse. There's economies of scale in any business, but at the end of the day, an advisory business is a people business. You've got X amount of clients you can capably service. And if you start trying to get beyond that and turning it into a sort of sausage machine, I think it's tough and probably not appropriate. I think also it's definitely a lot better now with the technology. We've got great platforms these days that advisors never had in the past, so that makes it easier. But a great advice business is definitely not too many clients and really deeply educated people and with a bit of grey hair. Yeah, I mean, I've often thought, well, what is advice? What's the true value add in it? Well, of course, you've got to have a technical understanding of what you're doing, and hopefully you can write numbers down that make sense. But a lot of it is going to be holding people's hands and interpreting a language which is a bit strange. Like a lot of the jargon in the finance industry, advice industry, is pretty jargony. To try and say that in a way that mum and dad investor can understand is a skill.
Yeah.
And holding the hand of investors so they get to understand that this is not an exacting science. You've got to be patient, got to take a longer term view, stick to your knitting, all those type of things, which isn't easy.